Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. We're finally done with this house. It was a battle, but this was the last thing that I had to do and it is all wrapped up. This is a hidden door on a DJ booth. If we go inside here, we're gonna have audio equipment for throwing parties and stuff. But as you can see, there was a ton of stuff going on. I didn't even know if it was going to be impossible to conceal this door. Turned out it really wasn't too bad. Using Ricks and pivot hardware, which allows the door to pivot top and bottom. There's no hinges, so it works really well, supports the whole weight of the door. And whenever it closes up, aside from the top margin up there and the bottom margin, you can't even tell it's here. So I'm super happy with this. I want to take you around the house, show you some things that we did, some lessons learned, and just tell you a little bit about the whole process. Down here in the basement, we didn't have a ton of trim, but compared to most houses, it was actually a ton of trim. We got the DJ booth right here. I built a built-in for our speakers, and then we'll have the DJ equipment in here, mural that's gonna be on the back wall there, and then the secret door is right there. It's gonna be a really cool area to entertain. If we come right over here, we've got the golf simulator room. As you guys can see on the floor, we've already got some air movers down here because this has already flooded. Because it is down a level, it does have a sump pit in the corner, and somehow the float got stuck already. So definitely going to be installing a battery backup on that in the future. But right here is where the golf simulator will be. We'll have the screen here. You'll be hitting balls right into that wall. And then nice entertaining area for the bar over here. Down here in the basement, you're always going to have mechanical drops that you have to frame in. In this basement, we've got a really cool tray that goes the whole length of this basement with a 4-piece crown detail. We got 2 pieces and 2 pieces with some massive chunks of wood up there. I'm really excited to see that all finished off. So you guys know it's very difficult to delegate and hand off aspects of a job, but this house was just simply too big for me to handle. I ended up hiring another subcontractor to tackle the staircase. First time that he's worked with me, and he did an absolutely fantastic job. His work is about as close to perfect as it gets. I'm super happy with it. Everything came together really well. On this job, we had a custom handrail profile, and as you can see, it transitions from the handrail being the exact same as our posts, so everything just flows right down. That makes it extra tricky to do an install that's pretty sturdy. So as you can see here, the handrail goes all the way down into the floor. It's blocked in with lots of PL premium, and it's about as sturdy as it's gonna get. Once we add the metal balusters that are gonna be horizontal in here, we'll tie these together and it'll connect this really well. I want you to even look over here. You'll notice where this comes down. To make this as strong and sturdy as we can, we want to attach it into the riser and the framing material underneath. And you can see we even have this notched into the tread so that the handrail goes right down through. So it looks as good as possible and it's as strong as possible. You'll notice here the architect specified this groove that we have on our baseboard also be on our skirt boards as well. So you'll see that along here and then also on the side skirts as well. Now the way you want to tackle a detail like this is to turn this into a 2-piece skirt board. So what we did was we ran our skirt board up like normal, which is just to this point, and then used 1x material here. Then we made a base cap with this dado or groove on it that carries through all the way around. It looks really good. Here we're in the great room. There's a lot of stuff going on right here, right now, but there's gonna be a ton of stuff once we get to the finish stage. We get metal in here, tile, cabinetry, paint, all those things will really make this an awesome space. Slat wall, coffered ceiling up top. We talked about that a little bit. And I wanted to show you this door. This is a really cool door. It's exterior doors, but they're pocket doors. So you'll notice over here that they completely slide into this cavity back here and disappear on both sides. So we've got plastic up right now because they're doing our back patio work with some concrete, but really cool stuff. Very impressed with how these work. I released the video on how I made this slat wall a couple weeks ago. Got a lot of questions asking, like, how in the world do you price a detail like this? And for me, it's pretty simple. I have a base price for a beam, a miter folded beam, and basically I just took that price and I multiplied it times 14 beams per section, and there's 2 sections up, so 28 beams total. So I took my basically beam price times 28, then that number looked way too big. So I took some labor off, which I probably shouldn't have, which I know I shouldn't have, and then that's what my price was. In reality, I should have just stuck with the big number, but live and learn. Details like this, you think because there's a larger quantity that you'll be able to do it faster, but in reality, with all the stuff that I had to go around, this actually took me longer per beam than it does typically even to install a cathedral ceiling beam. Here we're moving from our kitchen area into the dining area. We had this pretty cool tray ceiling detail with a 2-piece crown going around the lower band here. Turned out really good, pretty basic stuff. It'll be really cool to see that all stained up and then with a nice big chandelier in the center. Our baseboard was nice and big. We had a 9 1/4 inch baseboard, 3/4 inches thick. We did end up coping it, left this little nub on it. That way, whenever we put our joints together in the corner, it fills in that back section right there. But whenever you're doing baseboard that's really big, you need to charge a little bit more. It takes more attention to detail when you cut it on the saw, and it's just bigger and heavier. You can't carry as many pieces at once, and just takes a little bit longer to install. Now, you will notice at this stage also, we usually always have the drywaller come back in and touch up the walls. Inevitably, especially around staircases, you're carrying doors and long trim, you're gonna nick the walls a little bit. He goes around the whole house with a light, looks for any imperfections, touches those up. That way the painter can start with a really nice, fresh, clean wall. Here we're in our foyer area. You'll see the slat wall detail, front entry door, and then on this foyer ceiling, we've got nickel gap going the whole length at a diagonal pattern. Initially, all of this material was going to be rift cut white oak, which, as you know, is incredibly expensive. Just for the 10-foot sheets of rift cut white oak, it was going to be $400 a sheet. Times 28 beams, it was going to be crazy expensive. So we ended up backing that off, going with poplar. It'll stain up nice and it'll be good. You can just spend a ton of money these days if you're picking hard to find things like rift cut white oak. So it looks great. There's a lot of meetings involved in coming to design decisions, takes a lot of my time. You also have to make sure you're trying the best you can to get that time billable, because on houses like this, you do spend a ton of time in administrative work. Our casing on this house was a full 4.5 inches wide, 1 inch thick out here on the back band, 3/4 thick here on the main area. When you've got a casing that big and that thick, you've got to add some joinery in there. So in all of our miters, we've got a number 20 biscuit, tight bond wood glue, and then we use clamps to clamp everything together. So those miters should stay together for the long haul. On this house, probably more than any other house I ever remember trimming, I had more problems than I've ever had with getting doors on time and the correct doors. We had a lot of issues. I won't go into all of them, but they're gonna look great. They're super cool. You just have to keep in mind also when you're installing 8-foot doors, they're bigger, heavier, they take longer to install. You're usually having to use a 4-foot ladder just to be able to nail your casing off, whereas normally with a 6/8 door, you can reach everything. So they just take a little bit longer, but it's very rewarding standing in the space. You got a nice tall ceiling and big doors. It feels really good. We hang all of these with the Jam Master still, so they all shut great. Margins look great. They're gonna hang really well for a long time. Lastly here, just wanted to highlight the coffered ceiling. First time that I ever did this design with our grooves going all the way through and then in the intersections. I made a video about this detail probably almost a month or two ago now. And then up here in this loft area, we've got our slat wall, which goes all the way down, and this is just a kind of a cool area up here. So this was a tiring job. We had a lot of hours on this one, a lot of trim went into it. Really glad it's done. We've got a ton more work coming up, and then we'll be back here to do the final and show you guys what this actually looks like all finished up. Kind of excited for it, but I'm dreading it at the same time, because on these houses at the end, when you get everybody here that needs to be here to wrap it up, it's a ton of subcontractors at one time. So that'll be great fun when we get to that. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. We'll see you on the next one.